How you guys doing? And welcome to Moment by Moment Podcast. Man, we are excited to be with you all for another awesome episode. My name is JD Mason, and I'm the creative pastor here at Oak Hills Church. I'm joined by Travis Eads, who is our senior pastor. How you feeling, Travis?
JD, it is always a pleasure.
It's good
to hang out and get to talk about these things.
It sounded like it pains you to say that.
No, not at all. No, I do. I love this time, and I love getting to talk about some of the things that are helpful to other people, and hopefully today will be as well.
Yeah, today's gonna be a good one. So, interestingly enough, we've had guests on this season, that were experts in their field.
Oh, that's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
And but this is a topic where I don't know if we should have an expert on some of these fields. But we're gonna be discussing some things that Travis and I we're not experts on, but these are things that you should be aware of.
Yeah.
All right? We're gonna be discussing new age ideas because there's things that we need to know to be able to have conversations, maybe with your kid, maybe with a neighbor, maybe with a friend. And so there are going to be some things that, I had to research for the first time. So my Google search is a little weird. We're going to be talking about shifting. I mean, listen, if you're driving or, you're listening to this right now and you're like, I've never heard
what? I don't know
shifting.
what you're talking about.
I'll tell you something. I had no idea what shifting was. One of our interns brought it to us and I was like, I'm going to have to research that. I didn't know what it was.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to this as much as anyone.
Grounding, manifestation. So let's jump into it. Okay. So what do you have for us?
Well, one of the things, like we could begin with like Scientology, right? Okay.
All I know is Tom Cruise, right? So when I think of Scientology, that's all I
had to do a little, but it's basically the belief that, human beings are immortal, that a person's life experience transcends a single lifetime, and that human beings possess infinite capabilities. So that would be an example maybe of what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think about what those, I guess, the beliefs of Scientology, it's interesting how a lot of these belief systems are all trying to replicate what we read in the Bible. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, just generically, they're trying to explain why we're here on this earth. And then, then what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think we've all got the same questions, right? Like all religion and all spirituality, it's seeking to answer the same questions. Who are we? Why are we here? Where are we going?
Yeah. And so the next one that I wanted to discuss are crystals. Now, crystals in and of itself, it's not a religious sect. I wouldn't say it that way. But crystals, they're actual therapists that specialize in crystals.
Okay.
Right? So I read an article by Emma Haley, who is a crystal therapist and a spiritual wellness coach. And when I was understanding crystals, she explained it this way. She said, we know that everything in the universe is made of energy at a subatomic particle level, and our thoughts carry a vibration of their very own. She says, when we consider that like attracts the things we think about and focus on become part of the vibration that we ourselves carry. And therefore, we're going to attract those things. So basically, if you put your mind on something, you hold a crystal that vibrates at that same frequency, then it will happen to you. She goes on to say, the key to manifesting is to create a state of mind that carries the same vibrational frequency as the life we want to live. So some people use crystals to match the vibrational frequency of whatever you want. That's interesting because it's when I think about the prosperity gospel of we're here strictly to enjoy life, and we can manifest and we can speak into existence, and we have this power in and of ourselves, absent from the Father, from Jesus Christ. Absent from him, we have this power in and of ourselves. And in fact, we can get some physical object to empower us even further in that. Now, there's truth to some of these things about we know that there are subatomic particles in the world, right?
Sure.
We know there are things. And so it's interesting because I feel like people can get trapped into certain things because it might start off as innocent, right? So we've have superstitions that, we don't put a lot of merit into them.
Yeah.
Like give me a superstition that you do that you probably never really thought about the meaning behind it.
Let's see. Oh, here's one. Knock on wood.
Okay.
You say something and it's like, oh, knock on wood, hope that doesn't happen, right? Or hope it does happen, whatever that is.
Right. And but in your mind, are you truly thinking, man, if I'm knocking on this wood, it's putting something out to the universe that is going to block something from actually happening to me?
Well, hopefully my beliefs are stronger,
right,
in
exactly.
God and Jesus and all of that. But it is interesting how we kind of take things on, like wearing our favorite socks for our team when they play, or something's like, or I've got a shirt on and like they're not playing well, and like I go change my shirt, for the next half.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that I did that.
Right. Well, it sounds like
I'm not admitting.
Sounds like it.
I'm not. No, I did
We
not
are not
admit
going to
that.
record that part. We're going to
Okay.
cut that out. We're going to cut that out. But there are things that
But
we
you want
do.
power, right?
Yeah.
Like you just want to be able to influence the universe. You want to be able to
Exactly.
influence your circumstances around you, and this is just kind of the way it plays out. We're just trying to figure out how can we do that.
Yeah, and so a lot of these things I feel like start off as innocent, fun,
Yeah.
There's no innate evil in changing your jersey, but when you truly start to believe that you have some type of power that is outside of God, right? And it's just you. And yoga is now, listen, I know as soon as I say yoga, there's a lot of different thoughts, there's a lot of different theories. There's different types of yoga, right? And listen, I love stretching. I love it because I always cramp up. All right.
Yeah.
That's really because I'm getting old. All right.
You need to be stretching.
I can't imagine
JD.
how you feel if I feel old. You know what I'm saying?
Now, come on.
That's just for free. But seriously though, yoga, so people tie crystals and yoga together because they feel like when you're doing yoga, it centers yourself on the universe. You're becoming one with the universe. But it has tie-ins with Hinduism, the heaviest. So the that they say is you centering yourself in this world, and so you're drawing power from the earth into your body to be one with the universe. It also has roots in Jainism, which I hadn't heard of before this, and then of course Buddhism. We know that, and so that mantra is you're basically echoing the sound of harmony is what they believe in the universe. And so yoga is not a bad thing in and of itself, right? So it's when you start to delve into the spiritual side and you're trying to connect to the universe and you're trying to, they have a thing called a chakra and trying to find that energy and all those things. I mean, it turns into something that it wasn't meant to be initially. Is what I believe. And so if you're doing yoga and you're like, hey, listen, I don't get into that spiritual things. I'm not wearing crystals when I do it. I'm not trying to center my universe. I'm just trying to meditate and just relax and just stretch. That's fine. There are things that we can do, that are not going to be, that we know are not innately evil. You know what I'm saying? And so there is a line where I think it can become too much though.
Yeah.
It could be something that you never anticipated it being.
I think what I hear you saying is just be aware. And these are things, again, we were kind of joking. I mean, these are things we're talking about that we're just learning about. And because in some ways, like in Ecclesiastes, there's this statement, there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
It's always kind of the same thing. It's just repackaged. But there is something in us that is looking for something new. Yeah. Always. It's that spiritual hunger that we all have within us. And, right now, we know we have listeners who believe in Jesus, those who don't follow Jesus, those who maybe are practicing some of these things. And basically what we're saying is the thing that we all have in common, that we all share, is that spiritual hunger to figure out like these big life questions, right? We're all on this journey together. Now, JD, you and I, we do have a firm belief in Jesus Christ that he's the answer to these things that we're talking about. He is the power of the universe. He is the creator. He's the Alpha, the Omega. Those are the things that we believe. But what I hear you saying is we do, as believers in Jesus Christ, we also need to be aware of some of these other things and how they can begin to blend in with some of our beliefs in our culture. If we go with the flow of the culture, where's that going to take us?
Exactly. So next up, grounding. Talk about what grounding is.
Okay. So like grounding, or sometimes called earthing, it's practice of physically connecting oneself as closely as possible to the earth by going barefoot, lying on the ground, lying on a special pad, either connected to the earth by grounding wires or a rod, or plugged into a wall outlet linked to a modern earth ground system. Okay.
Whatever that is.
Some people believe that the physical earth has energy, right? Like the physical earth has energy that can heal both physical and emotional illnesses. Again, one of those things that we're all kind of searching for. We love to be able to find, those answers for healing. But in this case, grounding's like healing for physical and emotional illness. Here's the theory. It claims that the earth is negatively charged, so that when the human body makes direct contact with the Earth's electrons, remember that from science class or from physics, the Earth's electrons neutralize the free radicals in the person's body.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all desiring to be healed. We're all desiring for more power. And when we're reading these that people truly believe in, they're really just, they're trying to heal themselves. They're looking for an answer, and they're looking in all the wrong places. It's sad when you consider the fact that we have the answer to what these people are searching for in the hope of Jesus Christ. So if you're listening right now, when you're having a conversation with somebody who believes in grounding or believes in using crystals or, matching frequencies and vibrations with the universe, you have to be sympathetic to that in some type of way, because you have to know that they're hurting and they're just looking in the wrong places.
Yeah. Well, again, this is what we all have in common, because we're all hurting.
Yeah.
And we're all looking for, even just what we just talked about, that grounding.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe it is that you believe that that's through electrons, and, that spiritual hunger is driving us to seek and to search. Where can we find that healing? Where is that? Almost like a secret, right? Like something that has not yet been discovered. Maybe we stumbled upon it or whatever it is, but we feel like it's something new that's finally going to give us the answer to the questions that we've had all along.
And these are the questions that no man can answer a lot of times, right? They are the infinite, the questions of the universe. No man is going to be able to tell you, hey, this is why the galaxy is this way. And if you know, like the questions that we have, when you consider eternity, it makes your brain hurt, right? But people are trying to bottle up the infinite, the questions of this universe. And they're trying to say that you can tap in and you can access this power. You can do these things because they're all searching for something that a lot of times you're not going to find the answer on this side of eternity.
Yeah, you put your faith in something that turns out to be empty. That's so hopeless.
Yeah.
Right? Like you thought, okay, this was going to be the answer, and it turns out that it's not. And every time that happens, it just kind of leaves you to that place of, is this all there is? Maybe the answer is there are no answers. Yeah. Right? Like it can lead you down that path.
And then you go and look something else up, and then you try to cling on to something else, because to be in that place where you're spiraling of like, there's nothing, you're going to reach for something.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of something new, I was not familiar with shifting at all, but apparently there are over 1 billion videos on TikTok right now, different videos of people doing different rituals and methods to shift. Now, shifting, as the kids call it.
I'm not familiar with this.
Listen, I said as the kids call it because I'm getting old, right? So it involves them doing different things. So here it is. You're trying to move your consciousness into an alternate desired reality. Where you can go anywhere you want.
Okay.
So if you want to be in Hogwarts, all you have to do is shift, and you can be there. Now it doesn't have to be a real place. And so what they do is you do it. I'm reading right now, and it says there's the Raven method, and it involves meditating for 10 minutes while lying down in a starfish position, and then counting up to 100 while focusing on the desired reality that you're seeking. And then you say, I am shifting as you fall asleep. And then it says you'll wake up in that desired reality. There's another one called the pillow method. It says it involves writing. They call writing scripting. And what you do is you write the desired reality on paper to feed your subconscious mind, it says, with the details about what you intend to experience before going to sleep. And then you fall asleep and you wake up in that alternate reality. And so this is something that young people are doing on TikTok, and they're making videos and they're doing tutorials. And it's sad, because what does it tell you? It tells you that kids are not satisfied with the reality that they see around them.
Right.
A lot of times, this is a cry for help. A lot of times, these kids are the ones that are going through trauma. They're escaping. Maybe they're getting bullied, and they're trying to find some type of reality where they fit in.
Yeah.
A reality where they feel loved. And that's why it's so important to be aware of these things, and it's so important to share the love of Christ, and also just to be mindful of these things that are going on, because if you don't know about them, you can't ask them about them. So now that you can see these things, your kids are on TikTok. Most kids are on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
You can be like, hey, listen, have you heard of shifting? And you can make it a conversation. Mm-hmm. You can tell them, hey, listen, if you don't want to be in this reality, let's have that conversation.
Yeah.
If you feel like you need to escape, let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important for parents to be aware of this.
Yeah. It's interesting. We try to find a lot of different ways to shift. I didn't know it was a thing, but if I find myself binge watching, just entertainment, just because
Right.
I'm trying to suppress something or I'm trying to kind of drown something out.
Right.
And I start to see that in my behavior. It's escapism, right?
yeah.
So it's just another form of escapism, but it's escapism mixed with the spiritual,
Yeah.
right? So that's something I think to be aware of.
Yeah. Talk to us about manifestation.
Okay. Okay, so the idea behind manifestation, the word manifestation means to create or turn something from an idea into a reality.
I've heard of this before.
Okay. So in psychology, manifestation generally means using our thoughts and our feelings and beliefs to bring something to our physical reality. Basically, it manifests itself.
Yeah.
Hence, manifestation.
And I think people use this in a more of a generic term sometimes. They'll be like, whatever you put out, you'll get back.
Yeah.
You know, we think about karma. You know, what goes around comes around. It's almost like what you're putting out to the universe is going to come back to you. So you should just act good or you should just be good without a real reason as to why. Where are we getting that moral compass from? It's just you should do it because you'll get it back to you.
Yeah.
And you're, in a sense, you're manifesting whatever you're putting out. And I've heard this. I'm sure you've heard it in prosperity gospel. You know, whatever you give out, you're going to get back. So if you tithe, automatically it's coming back to you double fold is what I've heard.
Yeah. And that's not to say that there's not some truth in that. And I think you could probably say that about a lot of things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
There's little bits of truth in that. So, okay, here's an example. When you encourage others, you're going to be encouraged. When you serve others, you're going to experience a joy from that. Jesus himself, preached, it's more blessed to give than to receive. So there is some truth to that. But I think what you're saying is this idea that just because I have a thought that it's automatically, again, I have some kind of power over that to create that reality. Whereas we believe in a God who says you need to think about what you think about. Like holding every thought captive, that's important. But the result of that in the universe is up to the one who created it. That's what we believe, right?
And it's interesting because, you're right. A lot of these have a shred of truth because if they were so outlandish, you'd automatically be like, no, that's not real.
Yeah.
But it's when they start to tap into some of those emotions that you have. I mean, who doesn't want a new car? You know what I'm saying? And so if you're sitting here telling me, listen, all I have to do is do this certain thing or give this certain amount and man, I can manifest it.
Right,
I mean,
right.
And of course it's going to pique your interest. It's going to be like, you know what? I do deserve a new car. I do want a Tesla. You're right. And a lot of these,
well, who doesn't want to dream it
Right.
and then see it?
Exactly.
Right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, engaging the imagination, I think about like Walt Disney and, if you see it, you can, and just being able to see these things manifest. I mean, there is some truth to that and that's exciting to see. But when you put your faith in that, that's a whole nother thing.
I mean, think about the billion-dollar industry of the movies. You want to talk about escapism. People get lost in different worlds, right? And it's not to say that movies are bad, but it's that extreme degree. It's that running to it for your escape.
Oh, yeah.
Because
what's the motivation?
Exactly. You'd rather be there than in the reality. And so when somebody gives you an option to be able to be in that reality, you take it. You're like, man, I got to go. And really, a lot of these, it's sad to say, but a lot of these are plaguing our teens, but they're also plaguing adults. And they might be smaller traces of the extreme ones that we read. The superstitions, the things that you do just because, innately, you just always have done them. Not opening an umbrella inside the house, just different things. But then it's like, do I really, I would challenge anybody, whoever's listening right now, do you actually believe the superstitions that you're doing, or did you do them just because you've always done them? If you're actually put in faith that if you wear the same jersey that you haven't washed, ever, because you really think that's going to make your team win, deep down, question yourself. Seriously. I mean, we're called to wrestle with fear and trembling with our salvation. And this is one of those things that I would say wrestle with because you have to know why you believe what you believe. And then you gotta call yourself out when you're doing something that you feel, you know what, this may be not actually, this might not be Christ. This might not be what Jesus had intended.
Yeah. And what you're saying is don't go on an experience alone. What if I wear that jersey 10 times in a row and my team is never lost when I wear that jersey?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm starting to go, oh man, maybe there is
I got the
something to
magic
this.
touch.
But what happens the moment that your team loses and you're wearing that jersey? It
Yeah.
gets, you got to figure something else out, right? So you can't just go on experience alone. It'll take you, it can misguide you. And so we're saying that you have to have something else grounding you in your beliefs and your faith. And what is that power in the universe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, it's just, yeah, we can't get caught up in the symbolicness of certain things and items that we're reading about. But when I'm hearing these, I just hear the desperation of people, the desperation of our world right now, trying to find peace, trying to find love, trying to find
We're all
something
desperate.
that will take care of them.
Seeking peace. Yeah, that's right.
And there's nothing that's going to be able to satisfy you the way that Jesus will, the way that his spirit filling you up is going to be able to do. And that might sound like Christianese if you're a non-believer, but I challenge you, try it. We're reading things that we feel are extreme to us as Christians, but if you're a non-believer, you might be like, man, my cousin does that, my sister does that, I've tried it. It's not extreme to me. Well, I challenge you, try Jesus.
Yeah.
Cry out to him. Say, God, come into my life and change my life. I would challenge you to try Jesus today. Well, hey, we know we are not the experts on these things, but this was it was an enlightening conversation. I mean, this was just interesting just to study and just to think about, just to consider.
Yeah, just be aware.
So we can be aware, so we can have these conversations in a better way, but just realize that people are hurting out here.
Yeah.
And they need the love of Christ. They need the love of Christ more than your judgment. Oh, that's for another episode.
Well, okay, so JD, I think that's really important as we end. Judgment's not going to change anybody's mind. I mean, that's not really, you can say, oh, I can't believe you do this, or I can't believe you do that. But the point is, we are all searching, and we're all searching for the same answers. But the point is, we have found the completion, the answer to be found in Jesus.
That's it.
And Jesus and Christ alone in these things. And so to be able to point to, hey, that thing that you're looking for, that thing that you're hoping for, me too. And here's where I found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, hey, we have enjoyed this season 3 of Moment by Moment. Seriously, we couldn't have done this without your encouragement, without the views, without the shares, without you telling other people about it, without you telling your family members about it, without you guys coming up to us and encouraging us. We wouldn't be able to do it in the same way. Seriously, we're super thankful for each person that listens, each person that watches. And if you didn't know, we do have visuals on YouTube. We do film this as well. We know most of the people are listening on iTunes, and we just want to say thank you for listening to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Amazon and Google, and also for YouTube, man. It has been a journey that we are so thankful for. And so just from our heart to yours, man, we are very appreciative of each of you. Yeah. You guys have a great week.